It all started, if you remember, back on August the 19th last year, the new Barclays League season giving fresh hope to all 92 clubs. On Saturday, the final act was played up and down the country. For some, it's champagne and caviar. For others, sackcloth and ashes. And for many, a resolve to try harder next time. Here's the season's final report.
Parker. The extra man is Brian Laws. Impeded by King. Well, the Wednesday supporters ball disappointment to that decision, but it was a clear-cut one. Well, Pearce is the favourite here, although Nigel Clough might have a say. And Gary Parker is the third player around the ball for Forest. In fact, Clough's gone away now. And here goes Pearce. Through the wall, into the corner. And that is disastrous for Sheffield Wednesday. Chris Turner saw it late. And there's an interesting point here, because there was some thinking from Ron Atkinson about putting an extra player on the line to deal with Pearce, to help the goalkeeper out. Carlton Palmer had a look to see whether the job should be his, which he is designated for. He decided not to do it. But really, he wouldn't have been able to stop that one. Crosby. Now Clough had a look to the left to see what was on before the ball arrived with him. Here comes Pearce. It'll come back for Pearce. He's got his second. And the player Sheffield Wednesday feared the most is making this a disastrous afternoon for Ron Atkinson. He's beaten Chris Turner twice, once from a free kick, but this very much from free-flowing play. And he rammed it up into the top corner then. Worthington. Well, there's almost silence here from the Sheffield Wednesday supporters, who are starting to comprehend the consequences of this afternoon's events at Hillsborough and at the baseball ground. Franz Carr. Hodge, Jemson, 3-0. Sheffield Wednesday surrendering now. Ron Atkinson has done everything to get the team right for this game, but the players have not been able to perform on the pitch to the manager's satisfaction. And Nottingham Forest, as they're quite capable of doing, switch the ball forward with chilling efficiency. Sheffield Wednesday have not been able to secure First Division safety by their own efforts. They've been beaten by Nottingham Forest by 3-0. Now they must hope that there's good news from the baseball ground. Forest, with Stuart Pearce, outstanding, produced a thoroughly professional performance. Sheffield Wednesday certainly missed their chances. The story of their season. Ron Atkinson, who's made himself such a popular figure in South Yorkshire, sends his players to go to some long-suffering supporters. The players here are still unaware of the final score from the baseball ground. And they stand out in the pitch, some of them, to learn their fate. So often on the last days of seasons, misinformation arrives. The wrong story spreads like wildfire, and the gossip on the terraces. But my impression is that Trevor Francis and Nigel Worthington do not know. And we must wait while they wait.
Well, this is what happened at the baseball ground. There's a great start for Luton. Only a minute gone. David Preece with a free kick. And Tim Breaker. What an effort from the fullback. Beating Shilton from distance. Just the injection Luton need. A great effort, this one. Breaker had only scored twice in 200 appearances before this. One of the strikes of the season. Well, Luton have been criticised for selling their best players. They resisted a big offer for the Northern Ireland international Kingsley Black. and they'll be pleased they did. 20 minutes gone, Black nips in for number 2. Luton, 2 goals to the good. But there's drama to come in this first half. Mark Wright has been one of Derby's best players this season. He's in at the start of the move. The skipper moves forward. Harford challenges for it. And that's a fine finish from the central defender. Derby right back in the game. Moments to go to half-time. Derby have had to throw in Paul Williams because of all their injuries. And coming up, his first goal for the club. It's a good one too from the teenager. Luton thought the danger was over. It wasn't. 2-2. Luton know if it stays that way, they'll go down. A few seasons ago, Luton stayed up with a late goal at Manchester City. Last season, they had to win their last game, and now they do it again. And it's that man, Kingsley Black. But just look at the goal. In, off the post, past Shilton. The width of the post, the difference between staying up and going down. But Luton have put together a superb run. 3 wins on the trot. They survive on goal difference. Luton are staying up. Jubilation at Derby, but tearful despair as we rejoin Martin Tyler at Hillsborough.
The news has filtered through, and it's devastating in the end for Sheffield Wednesday. These supporters have been on an emotional roller coaster. Luton have won by 3-2 at Derby, and they're too stunned to make their way home. The bottom line is that Sheffield Wednesday are relegated. They needed just a draw today, but Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest have beaten them 3-0, and Luton, not Wednesday, have pulled off an amazing escape.
At the Den, they've been used to that relegation feeling for some weeks. And Chelsea, who'd never won at the Den, take full advantage of despondent Millwall. A great day for striker Kerry Dixon. A golden hat-trick from him. First, a header. 32 minutes gone. Then just over an hour gone. Kerry Dixon, top scorer for the 6th time in 7 seasons. His second with his right foot. And in the last 10 minutes, Dixon underlines what a complete striker he is. Kerry Dixon with the left. 25 goals for him this season. Chelsea finished 5th. Millwall, though, at least apart on a defiant note. There's a late response from Welsh international Malcolm Allen.
At Old Trafford, Manchester United fielded their likely FA Cup final side, but it produced only 1 goal against relegated Charlton, and that owed everything to 2 defenders. One centre-back, Steve Bruce, frustrated by Bob Boulder. The other, Gary Pallister, made sure that at least Manchester United finished their troubled league season on a winning note.
There are the final statistics at the bottom. Luton Town escaping the drop to the 2nd division. Equal points with Sheffield Wednesday, but a slightly better goal difference. Wednesday joined Charlton and Millwall. Incidentally, Sheffield United will be one of the teams replacing them. Commiserations at Sheffield. Celebrations at Coventry, where the champions Liverpool completed their season. Coventry are the only team to win at Anfield this season, and they get off to a real flyer. Just a couple of minutes gone, the Scot Kevin Gallagher gives them a shock lead. Mind you, Liverpool tend to win at Highfield Road, and they really make the Sky Blues pay a heavy price for their impudence. Unusual sight, this one. Ian Rush from distance. That's a dozen goals for Rush against Coventry City. And coming up now, the John Barnes Show, the Footballer of the Year, showing the sort of skills England will look for in Italy. Instant control and finish with the outside of the left foot. A very similar situation. Barnes gets in front of the defender again, this time with the right foot. Just as effective. 3-1 Liverpool. Ian Rush turning provider in the second half. For Ronnie Rosenthal, taking route 1 to goal. And rush once more, and watch now for some more superb skill from Barnes. He sends the defender Howard Clark into the next county, and a simple and very effective finish for his hat-trick. Liverpool will be desperate to hang on to Barnes. As yet they haven't made Rosenthal's move permanent to Anfield, but what a striking rate he's got. That's 7 in 8 matches for him. 6-1 to Liverpool, the championship finale. They're in a class of their own.
Aston Villa guaranteed to finish runners-up to Liverpool, whatever happened at Goodison Park. A most unusual game, in fact, starting with an own goal by Villa's record signing striker Tony Cascarino. But 4 minutes after half-time, Cascarino found the same net, but for his team this time. Mark Blake's deep cross, Cascarino doing very well to turn it in. Another 2 minutes gone, and Everton's turn again. Striker Mike Newell had started the season so well that he'd won a place in the England squad. But hampered by injury and lack of form, Newell hadn't scored in the league since the end of September. No wonder he was delighted. Now watch Everton's master goalkeeper Neville Southall. As he threw the ball out, the linesman signalled that he'd handled outside his penalty area. So a free kick to Villa. Gordon Cowans usually favours his left foot, so Everton surprised. 2-2. And more trouble for Southall now. Tony Daly with a cross that catches him out. Southall, who sets such high standards, left wondering what went wrong. But Everton, who'd been humiliated 6-2 at Villa Park in November, recovered to earn a draw. Tony Cottee tripped by the former Everton centre-half, Derek Mountfield. Substitute Kevin Sheedy had only been on for 6 minutes, but he was sufficiently well attuned to make it 3-3.
Tottenham must win this one to finish as London's top side. Paul Gascoigne past 2 men, and a lovely ball in for Paul Stewart. Spurs a goal to the good, 21 minutes gone. And Stewart providing the second for Paul Allen, who's not sure if he's staying at White Hart Lane. That might convince them that he's well worthy of another contract. Spurs avenging their FA Cup defeat. As for Southampton, they lost at Arsenal in the week, and they're beaten again here. But there's some lovely work from Matthew Le Tissier, voted the best young player in the First Division, and the late consolation from the substitute Andy Cook. Spurs win 2-1 though. 7 wins out of 8 for Spurs. They finished third, the pride of London.
Arsenal needed a win at Norwich to finish third, but they were caught out by Mark Bowen, such a buccaneering left-back this season, his 7th league goal. Arsenal's Alan Smith still in the England World Cup picture, despite a poor run, this much more the Smith of old. 1-1. Norwich City's young winger, Rule Fox, has had no such scoring problems. After Robert Fleck's shot was blocked by John Lukic, Fox in for his 3rd goal in 3 games. 2-1 to Norwich until 13 minutes from time, when Smith showed the quality which made him last season's First Division leading scorer. Norwich City 2, Arsenal 2.
Last season this fixture produced 7 goals. Another thriller in the sunshine at Loftus Road. Some sloppy work from David Seaman, unusual for him in the Rangers goal. John Fashanu takes full advantage. Wimbledon finishing the season with a real charge. They threatened to overrun Rangers and then gave away a penalty. The skipper Curl fouls Colin Clark. Just nicking him from behind as he's about to shoot, and the £1 million man Roy Wegley makes it 1 apiece at half-time. But Wimbledon, such a good away side. Only Liverpool have won more away matches, and so dangerous at those set pieces. Wise for Paul Miller. The Dons 2-1 up. Rangers must win to finish above Wimbledon, and there's some very determined work from Justin Channing, and that's 2 apiece. And in the very last minute, Wimbledon get the winner. A great volley from the skipper, Keith Curle. Wimbledon losing only 2 of their last 12 matches, a final place of 8th. A great effort on a shoestring budget, an average gates of 7,000.
A week before they faced Manchester United in the FA Cup final, Crystal Palace finished their league season at home to Manchester City. 1-0 to Crystal Palace, 3 minutes gone from Alan Pardew. One of Palace's more unpredictable players is midfielder Andy Gray. Gray had been told to play in the reserve team 2 days earlier. He wasn't pleased, but this splendid free kick suggested clever motivation from the Palace manager Steve Coppell. Manchester City determined to end their season with a spirited showing of their own, and 19 minutes from time, Gary O'Reilly handled challenging Niall Quinn. So the chance for Clive Allen, a Palace player 9 years earlier, to pop in the penalty. 2-1. Allen anxious to get the game restarted, and more problems for Palace 10 minutes later when striker Gary Thompson, already booked, clattered into Steve Redmond. It was an abrupt challenge which meant a second caution, and Thompson, who incidentally is ineligible for the cup final, sent off. 2 minutes from time, the 10 men of Palace conceded an equaliser, a suspicion of hands by Quinn before he went on to score. 2-2 at Selhurst Park.
Yes, just the playoffs to be decided now. Meanwhile, there's still a week or two to go of the football season on the continent. Remember, they have a winter break in their programme. And here's Martin Tyler's report on this week's selections.
Bayern Munich are the champions of West Germany, their 5th title in 6 years. It was clinched last Wednesday against St. Pauli, a 1-0 win which brought Alan McInally the glory of a championship success in his first season after leaving Aston Villa. The crucial goal came from Hans Flugler with the help of a deflection, and it had Jupp Heynckes and his coaching staff leaping off the bench. Cologne are the likely runners-up. On Saturday they were too strong for Hamburg, with Pierre Littbarski looking lively as he approaches his 3rd World Cup. His shot parried, but sent back with interest by Frank Ordenowitz. Hamburg, a famous club, have fallen on hard times recently, and a red card for Harold Sperl not helping them here. They should escape the humiliation of relegation, but it will be close. In the second half, against 10 men, a second for Cologne from Falco Goetz. It meant another defeat for Hamburg. In Holland, Ajax have pipped PSV for the title, a tense last game against NEC Nijmegen, particularly after Ajax went a goal down to the header from Mitchell. Ajax needed only a draw, and the goal with which they got it was a superb one. First of all, Brian Roy beat them all down the left-hand side. The look for the dummy by Stefan Pettersson in the centre, and then Wim Jonk ending a 4-year reign of domination in Holland by PSV. Champions crowned in Belgium as well, Bruges, and an appropriate scorer of their first goal against St. Trond. 33-year-old Jan Kerlemans, a great servant to the game in Belgium. He's the Bruges captain. 2-0 after 26 minutes from a player with a vastly different background, Australian international Frank Farina, his 26th of the season. He's the league's leading scorer. Bruges are a cosmopolitan side. The 3rd goal, created by Kerlemans, tucked away by a Dutchman, Fouke Boy. Well, wherever in the world you're a championship winner, the feeling must be tremendous, and the champagne is obligatory. Real Madrid already home and dry in Spain, but a goal down here to Viñals of Oviedo. Paris soon equalised for Real, but the story of the match surrounded Hugo Sanchez. Handball by Gorriarán gave the Mexican the chance for his 36th goal of another splendid season. And a minute into the second half, it was Sanchez again, set up by Michel, 3-1. Real Madrid have done John Toshak proud domestically. A foul by Buyo let Oviedo back into the match. 12 minutes later, Carlos converted the penalty. But Hugo Sanchez hadn't finished yet. The record-breaking striker took his league season's work to 38 goals and 38 somersaults of celebration. In all, Real Madrid finished with 107 in the Spanish First Division, their best ever. This the last, but not the least, from Aldana. 5-2 to Real Madrid.
Thanks, Martin. Well, I'll be back next week with more football and the Volvo Belgian Open Golf Tournament. I hope you can join me for that. Bye-bye for now.